great day, everyone. Ed Dudley coming from Durham, North Carolina in the U.S. of A. And I have this amazingly beautiful co-host. I love seeing her face every time we get on here, and that beautiful smile. Miss Love and Light, how are you doing today?
I'm fabulous, Zulu Ed. It's always awesome being in your company.
Same
And
here.
it just excites me as to the amazing people we get to interact with
Yeah.
on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm feeling good. I'm feeling extremely good
That's
today.
good.
Thank you.
How was your week?
Tough. It's been not tough in a bad way. I mean,
Uh-huh.
it's, as you know, I'm without electricity at the moment, living in South Africa.
Yeah.
So so it's been a bit of a challenge to
Mm.
balance work, home, get the lights on or off, whatever. So yeah, so it's been a tough week, but not in a bad way. But it's been great. So
Okay.
yeah,
Great. Well,
excited.
I am anxiously ready to bring in our featured guest that's coming from Dubai today.
Oh, let me correct you, my
Oh,
amazingly handsome boyfriend.
I am.
Yes, she is
Oh, you
coming
saw-
from. She is coming from Dubai, but I need to show off. She was born in the continent of Africa, the Ivory Coast. And then she moved to Lebanon and she studied there. And now she talks to us from Dubai. Can I tell everybody why I love her that much besides
let's
her
let's
external
bring
beauty?
let's bring her in first, okay? And then you can start telling how much you love her. So you go ahead now and let's make her blush a little bit. So go ahead and tell everybody why you love her.
Welcome to the Ubuntu house, Rawan. It's so good to see
Thank
you.
you. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Oh, thank you. I was going to tell, like, the reason I'm so incredibly in awe with you is because I love your courage. I love your spirit. I love your energy. I love the positive vibes you put into the world and how you uplift people. And, sometimes people say, I'm X, Y, Z, but their actions are not aligned to X, Y, Z. And I've been following you for a while. I mean, Ed, like you, she's my LinkedIn buddy for the past 7 years. And I met her on her birthday last year. And it was that conversation that touched me in so many levels. Okay, I talk too much, darling.
You
Um,
don't. No, you don't. You don't. You were setting the stage for Rowan to
Exactly.
share. So if you could just share with us a little bit who you are, maybe what you're doing right now, and just a little of your history of who you are.
Okay. Who I mean, I'm still figuring that out, honestly.
Okay.
I don't really have a clear answer, but if there's one thing that I could say to really describe myself is that I have a passion for constantly seeking who I am. I love to be out there. I love to explore the world. I love to explore myself, um, and I love to keep pushing boundaries, especially my own, in terms of like discovering my true potential, my true self. What are the things that I would like to do? So I've been jumping around really from like, a career perspective, hobbies, where I've lived. Uh, I'd like to believe that I've been in constant move and look forward to change.
Oh, wow. I love the honesty because so many people you ask them that question and they'll think, oh, I'm this, I'm that, and you're like, no, I'm still figuring it out, and it's okay to still figure it out because there's a certain aspects of my life I'm still figuring out who I am, even though I got children your age, but it's but I love that honesty. So thank you for being completely honest.
Rowan, we connect. Yeah, I was so in awe with your birthday gifts to the world last year. Actually,
I
on the
love I love
28th,
how
it was a gift to the world. Your post, it spoke about vulnerability. It spoke about okay being where you are. It spoke about not comparing yourself to other people, and you celebrated people that were in different positions. And I connect with words. I connect with lyrics and music because it speaks to my soul. I collect with positive people and positive work, and that was a gift to the world. So that was really, really beautiful. Why did you put that art in the way you have? What was your
Actually, that I really wrote that post in 5 minutes. I was like, what I wrote was exactly what I was doing and exactly what I was feeling. Um, it was a year of real big changes for me on so many different levels. So the December before that, I had to leave my job and I traveled for 3 months. And I was working freelance at that point. And when you're on LinkedIn and all you see are these people just moving ahead in their career, let's say, which was great. I mean, for them, that's amazing. Especially when I see people that were with me in school, at university, and I'm so happy for them. But then I made different choices, if you want, in my life. I didn't really choose to be in one place. I didn't really choose to be in one career. And sometimes, although that felt great for me because I got to experience so many things in life, it's hard not to feel inadequate at times, especially with social media. You have all of these different platforms, and every one of them is designed to make you feel inadequate in one aspect of your life. So LinkedIn was the one that was making me feel inadequate in my life, from a career perspective. And so yeah, I was like then, but I really wanted to get myself out of that mindset because I was great. I just traveled to Tanzania and Nepal and Dubai, and I was working as a freelancer, doing great. Why am I feeling that way just because I didn't have the title at the time? And I know so many of my friends who feel the same. And so that's what happened. I really wrote exactly what I was feeling. I never
it was
expected the post to blow up the way it did. Never
but it
ever,
was
like my wildest dreams.
oh no, but it was meant. It was your gift to the world, and that's the way I actually see it. Because I usually just go whatever comes to my feed, I engage with it. There's and it like I looked at it and I was like, my God, this girl is amazing. But there was no negativity to it. It was whatever you were feeling was so vulnerable and it was so authentic and it was so. But you were blessing everybody. There was no hate. There was no jealousy. It was like, you know what? I am where I am. This is the way I'm feeling. It's okay, and I bless everybody else. And look at
Yeah,
it's the goodness of energy you brought back to your life tenfold because I believe. So yeah, so I think you're incredible and you have so much to gift the world and you do it every day. I look forward to your posts. I have to be honest. I'm curious. Can I ask a question? I've never been to Lebanon,
No, you can't
but
ask a question.
oh,
But
I'm going to.
we all know you're going to ask it anyway.
He always puts me in my place, Rawan. What's it like living in Lebanon? What?
honestly, Lebanon is the most beautiful country in the entire world.
Okay.
And I'm not really saying that. If you ask every Lebanese, they would tell you the same thing. Not even like if you ask anybody who visited Lebanon, there is just so much of everything. There's so much culture, there's so much history, there's so much kindness, there's so much life, adventure. Everything you want, you can find it there.
Oh,
And it's just also we have like the best 4 seasons because you get to really enjoy summer, you get to enjoy winter, you get to enjoy spring and the fall. We go through all of the transitions. We have a bit of everything. We have the beach, we have the snow,
oh,
and Beirut is such a small city compared to big cities. So everybody knows everyone. You meet your friends wherever you go. It's just it's a beautiful place to grow up and to be.
It's so interesting that you just brought up snow because everything that we see over here in America about Lebanon is never talking about four seasons. Anytime it's portrayed in a movie or anything, it's
It's
always
always
seems
the
like
bad
it's
thing.
that one season and then the negative things. When you just said it snowed, I'm like, I never thought about snow
Yeah, we
in
ski.
Lebanon.
We ski in Lebanon. We
Oh,
and it's so cool because it's just like an hour drive and then you're up the mountain skiing. That's all it takes. I mean, if there's no traffic, but but
Okay.
yeah, I really love Lebanon, and now we're going through a lot of crises. In plural, we have economic, financial, political, social. We have so many things going on there, and it's just sad. It's sad to see the country where it is now.
So you just talked about the country going through economics. I noticed that you have a degree in
Economic.
economics,
Yeah.
and you're not actually. It's so interesting. So many people will get a degree and don't work in their field. Is there a reason why you chose not to stay in economic field?
Because I hated it.
I love you.
Honestly, like I really didn't like it, but that's the thing with expectations. I was a really good student at school, and so everyone expects you just to go and study the thing that you're good at. I was studying economics in high school, and I got accepted into AUB, which is like the best university in Lebanon and the Middle East in economics. And so for me, it was just like, like a natural thing. I didn't really think about it. But then going through the different courses and things that we had to study, I felt like I was not meant for this. And what really made me sure is during my second year, I went to do an internship in London, and I was so bored. I was so bored, like sitting in front of the computer, like looking at trends and crunching numbers, and I don't know what. And I'm like, no way, I can do this for the rest of my life. And but I only had 1 year to go, and I was like, I'm not gonna drop out now. I'm just gonna finish my year, and then I'll figure it out after that. Um, but I fell in love with London so much that I knew I wanted to come back there. So the year after I graduated from Beirut, I moved to London where I studied fashion design for a year there.
Oh, fabulous.
So you touched on something, and because I want to talk a little bit about the culture, the Lebanese culture. You said there were a lot of expectations because you did well in the particular subject. Can you talk to us about the expectations from a cultural aspect for Lebanese, especially young ladies? And then at what point did you say, the heck with the expectations of people? I'm going to do me. I'm going to do what makes me happy.
Well, I wish I was like that at a younger age, because I think my ultimate so both of my brothers actually studied in the States. They left after high school, and they studied in the States, and one of them is still there. So for me, in terms of like an expectation, cultural wise, my dad, like, there's no way he would have accepted that I would move at 17 to study abroad. So my only choice, basically, if and unless I wanted to put out a fight and like make a big deal out of things, but I wasn't that person, honestly, at that time in my life. I was like, yeah, um, so yeah, I'll study, because for us, a degree and what you work, we're not really taught to be successful in a way that men are, right? For us as women in a Middle Eastern culture, and mind you, Lebanon at that time was still more liberated than our neighboring countries. But for us, going to school, going to university, getting a degree is because you need to get a good job. But at the end of the day, you're going to get married, and your husband's career will come before yours. So I didn't really give it much thought at the time. But honestly, if I go back right now to what I wanted to be as a child, I had so many dreams. Like one day I wanted to be a vet, the other a lawyer, like a criminal lawyer, and then I wanted to be I don't know, like a biologist, and like I had all of these different things that I wanted to be, but then you become 17, 18, and you're like, yeah, no, who's gonna do that? Like, I want to be married and have kids by the age of like 24, uh, which by the time I was 24, I was like, what the hell was I thinking? Like, that ain't happening.
Oh, I love you. You're so incredible.
So yeah.
Wow,
Oh,
love it.
that was a good question, Ed. I needed to get a sense of how the women were treated. We had this similar conversation about Indian women, um, treated like second-class citizens at times. You know,
Yeah.
um,
I have to say, in Lebanon, we're not really treated as, as badly as other cultures. But I
yeah,
mean, talking about like day to day and culture wise, and
yeah,
it really depends on the family upbringing. We have
okay.
18 religions in Lebanon, 18 different
18.
sects. Yes, 18 different sects of religion in one small, very tiny country. So like where your household, your parents, your community, that's really dictated a lot. But definitely in terms of laws, we're still far behind. I mean, if a Lebanese woman marries a non-Lebanese guy, she cannot give her children the citizenship. She's not
Oh,
allowed.
really?
So only a Lebanese father can give his kids the citizenship.
Interesting, right? Oh, thank
Yeah,
you for sharing. I mean, that's quite useful. I didn't know that. Um,
yeah,
So, okay, so we talked about that. That is just, I could go so many different ways with some of the things that you just said. Because I look at some cultures, women, if they marry a black man, it's like they're shunned
mhm,
from different societies where they won't talk to you. I've heard some Asian individuals share with me if they married a black man, their family said they would just disown them. I don't know if that's the same in Lebanon, but it's interesting what you said. The father can only provide citizenship. Let's just go back about the 18 religions.
mhm,
And you study Islamic studies, religion.
yeah,
her
yeah.
master's,
What
mind you.
masters? What made you go that route?
Well, there were so many different things. I've always been very much interested in the different cultures, and religions, and because I grew up having very deep conversations at a very young age with my mom and my uncle actually. And we used to think about all these things, and I used to have all of these questions that I wanted to ask, and they always encouraged me to to do the asking, to find my own question, to do my own uh, thinking, if you want. Um, and so after so I've always had that kind of personal interest in the religion, and then after I studied fashion design, I worked in a fashion magazine for about 3 years. After that, and for about a year of those, I was in Dubai. So this is my third time actually that I moved to Dubai. Um, so it was also during that time that the Syria war had started, and Lebanon was receiving a huge influx of refugees, and ISIS had begun. All of these different components, and actually, just before ISIS, when the crisis happened, I felt like I was so disconnected from the world. I was working in a fashion magazine, traveling around the world. I even met Rihanna in Barbados for a press. Like I went on a press trip, and like in Lebanon, there were so these other things that were happening, and I felt like I was disconnected. And so I left Dubai, and I went back to Beirut, and I joined the UNHCR, and I started working as part of their regional communications team. So my job was to find the stories that were worth telling, because my team was a group of photographers and videographers that didn't speak the language. So it was part of my job, to take them around, connect with the local community, find the stories that just needed to be told, write or translate, or just be that person. And I started to get more and more exposed to although I'm Muslim, it's just a different, completely different culture. And then ISIS began, and then again, I was at that stage where I was having another um, change of heart about what I wanted to be in life, and I decided back then that I wanted to be a university professor. And so I needed to do my master's and PhD. And I thought, well, what better subject than something that I know would keep me interested and I know would keep me going. So I chose Islamic Studies. And I went for
Rowan,
it.
you have such a, I mean, the beauty of your family encouraging you to think has allowed you to move into roles that was purposeful, that really has impact. It wasn't just because you needed a salary. It was what for me, as you tell your story, I'm just going through your journey actually. You went back to, you could have been in the fashion magazine earning your money, pretending that everything's fine. You went back to Beirut. You went to help tell the stories, make a difference, and create an impact. So you're just incredible though, because you could have made a lot of money in economics sitting at the desk, trust me,
I know.
and just being mindless. But having the curiosity, having the open mind has just taken you to places that in my mind is priceless. The experience, the interactions with people, because with diversity, it opens your mind, it opens your thinking, and it just allows you to flow from both ways if you're open to it.
Yeah.
And that's what I get from you actually. Um, your perspective. So did you do
Yeah.
your PhD though? You wanted to become a
No,
professor. Did your masters? Yeah. Did you do?
She said no real fast.
Is the intention of doing it? No.
no. I'll tell you why.
Okay. Tell me.
Okay. So, so basically, I did my master's, and I really and like I thoroughly enjoyed it, honestly.
Uh huh.
Um, but like once when you look at something from the outside, is different when you're actually in it. So while I was studying, I got to talk to a lot of my professors about what it's like to be, a university professor. And for me, honestly, the best part of the experience was the actual teaching, which I got to do. I'll tell you a bit about that. Um, uh, but the fact that for you to stay relevant or employed, or the field was becoming too competitive, and for you to stay relevant as a teacher, you continuously need to publish papers.
Mm-hmm.
And I know myself, and I know what type of personality I have, and so I know my own limitations. And I was like, I'm not gonna produce papers for the rest of my life.
You knew it, right? Yeah.
So, yeah, I felt like it was a great learning experience. I loved it, and I got to teach. So the second time I moved to Dubai, I taught at two universities. I taught Islamic culture. It was really the best experience of my life, and I'm still in contact with a lot of my students from back then, because I was what, like I was 28, I think 28, 29 at 29 at that time. And I have people tell me I look much younger than like my real age, and when I was 29 I used to look like I was maybe 23. So I remember when I was walking into the classroom for the first, like on the first day, and they were just everyone was just still sitting waiting, like when is the instructor coming, and I'm like, oh hey guys, it's me.
What was the reaction?
And like everyone was in disbelief at first, but then we got to forge a very nice relationship. And the one thing that I really loved is when I was doing my master's, I learned so much about Islam that was just beautiful, beautiful civilization, beautiful history. So much of it misunderstood, so much of it purposely forgotten, and I got to bring that back into the life of a lot of the students that were really shocked. Them as Muslims were really shocked to hear that uh, you know, Islam is actually a great religion, and we had such a beautiful culture. So I love doing that. That was really like for me the best thing that happened.
So I have a question for you. So the West, in particular the U.S., has framed Islam in a certain box. Um, there are going to be a decent amount of people from America listening to this. Can you just share something about Islamic culture that we don't know or we're not is not brought to light here in the States?
I'll tell you a few things that you will not believe. So a lot of the constructs or notions that we have right now in terms of like what defines a modern world, which are university, hospital, pharmacy, these were all Islamic innovations. When Europe was in the Dark Ages, the first hospital, the first pharmacy, the first university was actually created during the Abbasid era of the Islamic culture. And then these notions made it to Europe through Spain, through a lot of translated texts. Um, so one Muslim scholar is called Ibn Sina. He wrote a textbook on surgery and medicine, and his book was taught in Europe up until, if I'm not mistaken, the 19th, 18th or 19th century. So everything we know about modern medicine and science, a lot of it came from Islamic scholars, and not just medicine, astrology, cartography, uh, in so many different fields.
Oh, that is powerful. I learned that. I didn't know that. So this has been
Yeah,
I
very
didn't either.
useful. I'm a perpetual learner, so that's a great thing to know. And it's so beautiful, Rawan, being a teacher, and we've had this conversation with somebody else, to be able to impart that knowledge to your
yeah,
students and they go ahead and share it. And that's the way we help influence change on many levels.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's you're a wealth of knowledge. You're just not a pretty face. And I'm not saying it with disrespect. No, you're incredible. And what you've done.
But I have to say, like, a lot of Muslims don't even know their own history,
Yeah.
and a lot of our religion has been misinterpreted, has been misused, has been taken to extremes, and um, and that's the real shame. That's the real shame, honestly. And I don't really blame the West or the States, or like we experience in our own cultures a lot of this. Um, I don't know what to call it. It's not even. It's ignorance, honestly. A lot of this ignorance, because trust me, it has no basis whatsoever in our true religion. It doesn't.
I believe you. Most religions have the same foundation of love, kindness, don't hurt, things of that sort. And that's what we need to pour, irrespective of religion, irrespective of country, irrespective of culture, irrespective of
Yep.
gender. We all have a common humanity that we need to drive towards. It's peace, it's love, and you epitomize that. You show it on so many levels, and your courage to speak out, coming from a Middle Eastern woman. um, it's very difficult to hear truth to the level you're sharing. So thank you for that.
I
Um, is it?
actually I didn't really think that it was that rare, but I've been receiving messages from a lot of women who are Arab and who are telling me like, "Whoa, we've never seen anyone from this region share content like you do or speak up about these things." And the thing is, like, in my head, I really haven't even started saying what I really think, especially about women in the Middle East. I have a lot to say, and I'm really hoping to find the right way to start conveying that more, because there are so many different societal constructs that we really need to start breaking down. And I think one of the first is marriage and kids, and giving back this choice to women, and not let it be, well, yeah, you're at an age where you need to be married, and go ahead and get married to the first guy that comes along. So
It's
yeah,
such a powerful statement. Thank you for making it. And you have the everything within you, the way you land your messages, even though it takes 5 minutes to write such amazing things. So just allow the words to flow. Don't overthink it, and you will
yeah,
get your messages. I always say we're all here to gift our talent, and your talent is words and your messages and your empowering messages. You give women permission to do themselves. I like do you, your hashtag, it's a beautiful thing. It's freedom. It's just so encouraging, and you're the ambassador for that mindset shift. You do it beautifully. So I want
I
to
hope,
thank you for that.
I hope so.
So, what do you think is the blockage from stopping you from writing that content to basically unlock some of these stereotypes and things of women?
Um, First of all, I'm not sure where I want to do that. Like in terms of like medium. I mean, I'm not sure. Like maybe LinkedIn is the place for that. However, my second point of dilemma is that this is where I've gathered an audience, if you'd like. So I don't know if I should start another like a newsletter on LinkedIn that is more targeted about that. I don't know if I should use my account as is to start, talking about these things. That's one. Number two is I'm not sure where to start, honestly. There's just so much to unpack, and that I'm currently still unpacking. And I truly believe myself to be someone who um, has like defied maybe much more than my friends and my family um, have been able to, or I've had the maybe I've been one of the lucky ones, or maybe not so lucky. Depends on how you want to see it. But that I've been actually thinking about all of these things, and I've been trying to say no whenever I can, and I've been trying to really live my life the way I aspire to. But we just there's so much social conditioning in us that it's so hard to shake down to the root of it. Sometimes you feel like, yeah, I've done it. I'm so like liberated from all of that, and then something happens, and you're like, oh no, I still have a lot of work to do on that front. And so yeah, I think it's just about the journey within me first, and um, how much am I really allowed, or am I considered a voice that people would want to hear? Like I have all of these doubts that I'm trying to
Okay. Can I tell
tackle.
you? You need, I mean, you have all the tools in terms of words, in terms of personality, in terms of who you are, to be able to land it in a way that's not going to offend people. The reality is, you're always going to get a grouping of people that are going to take it personally. It's not about you, it's about them. So doubt is, I don't think you need to be doubtful. Maybe use LinkedIn as a suggestion to do a voting. Like I see people doing voting stuff
Yeah,
to just get and do a poll to understand what the interest is, to say this is my vision, to empower women, to liberate women, to be able to be the ambassador for actual change, not fit any boxes. Do you want to hear it here? Should I do a newsletter? Should I do my own podcast? It can help you with set that up. Come on,
oh,
he's the man. Because I think maybe doing your podcast would allow you to be free. Sometimes words are interpreted in ways depending on what these people are going through. So do a journal, Rawan. I'm great at that. Do a journal, all my ideas, then unpack it, and then go, okay, I'm going to be doing X, Y, Z. So take the ideas on paper and map it out. And I'll
I've
help you
really,
if you need any help.
yeah, of course I will call you up on that. I've really thought about a podcast. I even came up with like with a name for it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
What is it?
I
What is it?
I wanted to call it Glass Houses, because
I love
like
that.
the concept of shattering like the glass ceilings. My concept is more shattering the glass houses that we all live in. We all
Yeah.
think that we're not really, like, our stories are so different, and whatever I'm feeling is like we don't really talk about it because we're so afraid of constantly being judged. And I'm sure inside every household there is a woman who is struggling with something. And I really just want to bring all of those walls down.
Oh,
I
I think that's so
love the name.
powerful.
Love the name.
Well, I have a legal background, Rawan. Nobody steals the name. We actually like, it's here. So go
Yeah,
and
we're yeah. But by the time this comes out, she'll have it all set up already.
do set it up. No, I think that's powerful. I think it's a great idea. It speaks to so many things, actually. You can actually, yeah, there's a lot there that you can play with.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I think
you
men
should-
can learn from it too.
Yeah.
I think it's just not for women; it's for men to sit back and listen and learn. That's what I think
Yeah.
the beauty of it as well.
Yeah. Because just as women, we have been socially conditioned, men have too, and sometimes not to their advantage. I'm all for seeing both sides, and we just don't allow men to have feelings. We don't allow men to be vulnerable. We don't really allow men to be supportive, or to actually, even like if some men really believe, let's say, in their partner's career, if they choose, for let's say for example, to be a stay-at-home dad, they're subjected to so
Oh, yeah.
much belittling
Humility.
and hate,
Mhm.
and yeah, I think there's a lot of social conditioning on both sides.
Absolutely. And I think your podcast would be able to really, really have the desired impact. They could go read your newsletter, they could go read 100 books, but hearing the message and that connection and planting those seeds will have more power, actually, on many levels. Please go do it, okay? Ed and I are begging you because you have a lot to give the world.
and you got support right here already.
You do.
Thank
Just
To-
call
to-
on us.
to get
Don't
your
call
stuff.
on me for technical support. I'm useless. I'm good at other things.
I'll ask for that.
Yes, it's great.
Good luck. I'm
No,
learning on the fly.
Yeah, I know.
So go ahead, Charmaine.
No, you go.
No, I want to I saw your post, and it ended with "Stop with the hustle culture." That was for me an amazing post. What you put out there, because I spend most of my time on LinkedIn as well. And you see a lot of people, oh, I've read all these books in 1 month, and I've done this, and I've been to the gym, and on my personal growth. And I love when you put this, like, I want to read when I feel like it.
Yeah.
I want to do my hobbies whenever I feel like. Like, stop with the hustle culture, because we have this in our society right now across the globe. It's all about this hustle mentality. I gotta constantly be hustling. I gotta be constantly hustling. What was the genesis for that post? What hit you at that moment that you're like, you know what? I got to get this out.
Same as you. It's just I'm tired of seeing all of the, like, how to read 50 books in one. I don't want to read, like, why would I want to read 50 books in one month, and then just like this constant pressure of every waking moment has to be planned, right? And then when your day is full, you start waking up earlier. Like, we're gonna start waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning just to get everything done. And then people are gonna burn out, and then they're gonna. I just don't understand why. What happened to plain old fun? What happened? What happened to us enjoying our time? What happened? Why are we suddenly robots? Why does everything has to be a commodity? Personal brands, personal development, books, like the hobbies that are supposed to be fun now. Like, you need to pick a hobby, stick to it, become an amateur. No, I want to enjoy my life. We have so little time here, and I'm not saying if this makes people happy, I'm all for it. If
Yeah.
you want to wake up at 3 a.m., go to the gym, read a book, go to work, come back. I don't know. Fly to the
Let
moon.
me let me
Go ahead.
confess, Rowan. I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning.
You're a robot.
No, I'm not. But I'm in bed by, like Ed will tell you, by 7ish, 8 o'clock. It's like
Before the sun
I
goes
tell
down, she's in bed.
It
Sleep.
is. So it's The reason I wake up early is because I'm most productive. I love the peace. I love listening to
Yeah.
music. I love to set the tone. I can think for myself. So it's my thinking, feeling, meditating space. And then I'm in meetings when the day starts. And by the time people wake up, I'm done with my productivity. So then
Yeah.
it's that kind of stuff. So I've always been that way, even as a kid when I used to study and things. So it's not because I've
Same.
suffered from, what do you call this thing? Or like the hustle culture. No,
Yeah.
it's the I don't know. I just enjoy that morning. I'm a morning person.
Charmaine, you're doing something that for you feels like you're just changing the timing. You're not putting pressure on yourself to
No,
be
no.
doing this and then having 10 hobbies at the same time, and also working out every single day, and also have a social life, and also have a
Yeah,
healthy mind, and also think about the next 10 years of your life, and also think about your kids if you're married and have kids, and also keep your healthy relationship with your husband if you're married, and
yeah,
also
I know.
keep a healthy relationship with your friends and your family. Like I mean, the amount of things that we need to be doing on a daily basis has become just so incredulous to me, and we wonder why are people burning out? Why are people so depressed? Why are people are so lonely? Why are they so unhappy? I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, of course you're gonna be lonely if you're not gonna have the time to make real connections with people. If you're not gonna have the time to go and enjoy yourself, of course you're going to be unhappy if you have this bottomless to-do list that there's no way you can finish, and you feel like you're not enough, or you're if you're not doing all of these things. And I wrote the post because I went through it as well. I had my alarm set at 5:30 every day in the morning so I can get an hour of gym before I get to work and I have to come back. And I had bought like these books just because I went to the bookstore. I love reading, like I love novels. But I went and I bought all of these books that I should be reading, like self development, your relationship with money, or I don't know what. And like and reading started to become a chore to me. And then I think about that. But oh my God, I haven't spoken to my parents today. Oh my God, there's this friend that I haven't checked on. And oh my God, I need to do this. And oh my God, I have no hobbies right now. What am I doing with my life? I'm failing miserably at so many different things, according to whose standards? And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I
no,
love you, girl. It's
because
like
I
that.
know these things. you know I want to pick up a hobby. I called the pottery. I was looking for a pottery class today because yeah, I enjoy doing these things, but I don't want to do them with like impossible standards that I have to reach. That's it. Like that was the point of the post.
It was a
Love it.
powerful point, and the way you've actually explained it now, it's going to land well with people because people are feeling pressure as a result
Yeah.
of social media posts. Everybody is more productive, supposedly more productive, most effective. They're using their time better than I am. No, don't compare yourself with anybody else. In the words of Rawan Kayat, do you? That's it.
And
You'll
I
be more
appreciate.
happier.
Yeah, yeah. And I really appreciate all of the people that left comments that were saying that, people cannot make you feel something, and you decide to feel it. And I understand the power of that message, but this is so much easier said and done.
Yeah.
We all feel what in general society wants us to feel, even though you're detached, you're free, you're a free soul, you're a thinker, whatever you are. The opinions of others and how you see others conducting your life will always have an impact on you, no matter how much you try to distance yourself from that mentality. And if really people have no effect on you, then I really salute you from the bottom of my heart. And please tell me how you got there. That's all I ask.
Rowan, what are we doing?
I was pointing. I say I don't know which side you are out, so I was pointing to you.
So Sandy,
I'm here.
if you're there, please give me a 10-step guide on how to
No,
get there. I beg you.
You're completely right, actually. People do actually influence you in many ways, right? I've developed a strategy where I spend very little time. So I'm very delayed in my posts and things when it comes to, I spend like an average of 10 minutes a day on social media, whether it's Facebook, whether it's LinkedIn, and I learn from people, or Instagram. Some days I'll go onto LinkedIn, I won't go onto Insta or whatever. And what I've learned is when you go fetch news, and you don't consume whatever's in the radio and whatever, it's easy to block out the noise. So I've learned to block out the noise. And I ask myself the question, I'm older than you. Like I've got like 30 odd years ahead over you. I'm old. So it's,
but she looked
I
great.
am
Look
old.
at her. But you look
No,
great.
I'm old.
Oh, like I would have never guessed.
The reality is, like, as you get older, you get smarter. So it's like I've learned to detach through my meditation and things like that. And the question I ask myself, and I'm not being arrogant, it's like, how important is this person in my life? And why have they made that comment? And if they are important enough, I'll go, okay, I'm going to spend some time explaining and changing the mindset and influence. Otherwise, I just like, thank you. I actually don't care. And I just move on. And I use the strategies of music, meditation, just block it out. And it's easier said than done, but it is possible. Trust me.
Yeah, I know.
I've learned the power of detachment, and it's not like you just detach from everything. You are so connected to things that are irrelevant. And when people are ugly, it's easy. I've been through a lot in my life, Rawan. Everybody has. If you use the pain in an effective way, you can actually utilize it as a fuel to not allow people to take you off your game, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for that 10-step guide.
It's coming. It's coming.
It's not gonna come from me.
It's gonna be a post. Come on, Shemaine.
Like, I totally agree. And I think like a certain level of detachment is easily attainable. Like I have definitely reached a certain level of detachment, because if I have, I wouldn't be here today where I am. I wouldn't be 33, not married, and don't have kids. I wouldn't choose to leave everything to come to Dubai to find a new life for me. And I would have probably been crying all day with some of the comments and messages that I got today. The level of detachment that I'm talking to, but also you seem that you've also attained that, Charmaine, is the detachment from society as a whole, in terms of expectations, and in terms of how to lead your life, and in terms of what defines your presence in society. And that this is the kind of detachment that I'm talking about, because this is so hard to do. It's at least for me, it's hard to reach that, where you see everyone around you doing something and you don't feel bad or left out because you're not doing it. I mean, it's the power of living in a mass society, I guess.
Yeah, I hear you. It's not easy. It's yeah, and that's why. And this is the intent behind what Ed and I are doing, is to have these vulnerable, authentic conversations where it's okay for people to understand, live your life in a way, but remember it has impact on other people. Like if we look at social media, the posts, some of it is not real. I mean, Ed and I had this conversation where we know people, I know of people that took their lives as a result of false posts of other people. And all of that actually has impact. So if we can just be true to ourselves and kind to the world by sharing like real stuff and not pretending I'm X, but I'm something else and I'm not aligned to my values or whatever that is for you. So so it's about, this has been powerful, because your realness, your authenticity, the way you explain yourself, the way you are like.
She has an old soul.
That's
what we say. That's what we say here. You have an old soul. I mean, you're young in body, but your soul is old and wise and full of wisdom. And I love that. I want to switch gears a little bit, because we talked about social media and some of the pressures, and you're head of content for a company.
Yes.
And social media, I thank God that I'm much older and I didn't grow up in the age of social media. For one, some of the stuff that I've done caught on video probably will get me in trouble. That's the first thing. And my mom will probably see some of it and then I'd really get in trouble. But where do you, because you're still relatively young and you built a nice following on LinkedIn. Where do you see content creation going in the future? Because it's all about content. You hear the saying, content is king now. Where do you see content going in our society?
I think it's going to continue to become king, but
Really?
to be king for a very long time. I think content is the way people consume everything nowadays. This it's how you get your news, it's how you get your education, it's how you get your fun, it's how you get your entertainment, it's how you get everything, and that's nice and scary at the same time. That's nice and scary at the same time, and
Why scary?
uh, it's so easy to spread false news. It's so easy to control people with 10-second bite size of information that uh, and when they're consuming 100 of them each day.
Yeah.
It's I feel it's harder and harder um, to create meaningful impact in one's personality now than it was before. Uh, I feel people are looking for fast content, but that's just what it is. It's fast content. It comes fast. It goes fast. I don't really feel like there's a lot of learning um, in all areas, and yeah, I really feel that's scary because just people are now documenting almost their entire life online, and and just becoming the norm of shoving your phone camera in front of anybody's face, whether they want it or not, and yeah, so I do believe it's here to stay in the future, and it's going to be the way we consume everything. But I still find it a bit scary.
It has the potential to break people and break people emotionally, but it also has the potential to have an impact on people's reputation. So if you use it unethically or for the wrong reasons, that's where the scary element comes into play. And I've seen it actually happen on many levels
And
already. And I'm not even a social media person, if that makes sense.
whether we'd like to admit it or not, people, a lot of them are very cruel,
Yeah.
honestly. And um, yeah, and there's
Yeah.
really nothing you can say other than that.
Absolutely. I agree with you actually. It's so yeah, so the intention is to just take a message out there. The more kind you are, the more positive energy you put out, the more you want to have a positive impact, you'll be able to get that back. If you choose to be cruel, well, you're going to go on this journey that's going to only take you so far. And remember and understand that. So the choice, as Rawan says, we all have choices. The choice is in your
100%.
hands on many levels. Rawan, you're a girl that loves experiences, right? Like
Yeah,
you've done many amazing things.
yeah.
Teaching refugee children English, how did that feel? And what was the experience like?
Um, it felt great. It's very hard. It's something very, very extremely hard to do. Especially that you're dealing with kids who have just fled war. They're traumatized. Their their entire situation, not just like fleeing the war. Like they've reached a new country. They're living in awful conditions. uh, their entire life as they know it has changed. So it's much more than just getting them to class and teaching them how to read or write. You have to start from scratch. You have to teach them about you have to teach them about much bigger concepts as well than just reading and writing, because their background is very different than yours. you have to really understand that. You have to be mindful of their own cultures and customs. You have to be mindful of their own trauma. So yeah, it was quite an experience.
I can imagine. And you see, as you responded to that question, it's quite clear to me that, and it confirms the fact you are an old soul. Your approach, the way you deal with it, your empathy, your compassion, and it wasn't just a job. I'm going to go in, teach them English. I don't care about their circumstances. And it takes a special person to address things the way you actually do. So, like, you are special
Yes.
in every respect. So thank you. On No, this is not my closeout. I just want to say that I give love generously. I give compliments generously, and I'm drawn to amazing people like you that do
Yeah.
great work. So thank you for the work that you do and the impact that you have in our world. That glass door, if that doesn't happen, Rawan, it's coming for you.
So yeah, it's definitely gonna come. So I got a question for you. It might cause you to think a little bit.
Go ahead.
You got a magic wand,
Yeah.
and you get one wish. One wish. What would that wish be?
God. Um, uh, what would that wish be? Um, if I want to be really honest, and I think maybe that's gonna sound a bit of a cliche, but I would just like to give the entire humanity an extra dose of kindness,
I
and
love you.
especially kindness towards animals.
Charmaine really loves you now.
I love you more. I'm vegetarian, and we connected on a post as well. It was um, yeah. No, no. I'm kindness to humanity. Full stop. And animals. I don't kill a cockroach. I don't kill an ant. I'll carry it out and put it because I believe everybody has a purpose. Um,
Mm,
and I wasn't born a vegetarian. I became a vegetarian when I became more aware and a heightened sense of awareness. So my husband and my son eats meat. Don't get me wrong. I have no objections to people eating, but it's a choice that I've made. He's a meat eater, so I don't
yeah.
judge.
Give me a
It's
good
just,
steak. I'm good.
Ed, I'm going to go back to your question about when people marry black men, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna, I have six sister-in-laws, right?
Mm-hmm.
Two of them are married to white men. None of them are married to black men. But that's the norm. Things have moved and changed on.
Uh-huh.
So just giving a response to your question. I mean, I'm dark skinned, right? Um, because I have the shining light here on me and there's no electricity, so it looks like I'm lighter than I am. The point
I
I'm
think that's
making.
your internal light, Charmaine.
Thank you. So the point I'm making is when you offer a darker skin, so a skin tone, so you're not seen as I'm going to give you an example. Like in my family, I remember my gran refusing my uncle to marry a woman because she was dark skinned, and he didn't marry her. She found him somebody else. So that's the Indian culture that we deal with. I had to go through a similar journey when it came to Ron's family. So yeah, so there's less respect
Mm-hmm.
for darker skinned
It's
people, if that makes sense.
it's much worse here in the region,
Why
and
is
we
that?
don't even get the darker skin. We're just, at least in Lebanon, a lot of families don't marry, are like not allowed to marry from different religions, and they're all Lebanese. Like, we grow up, we go to the same schools, we go to the same universities, we're all in the same circle of friends. But when it comes to marriage, parents are still like, they have a hard time adjusting,
Sure.
and this is really starting to change with my generation and
Yeah.
younger, because we're because Lebanon had a huge civil war that our parents lived through, so they still have some of the residue of that war with
Yeah.
them. But hopefully we don't, and hopefully that's changing. And so yeah,
Okay.
Sure. I
So,
mean, people like you will actually affect the change, and your kids
oh,
and your
without a doubt.
grandchildren will be, yeah.
100%.
Like my son does not see color. He doesn't. Like everybody's the same. So you go to like, what are you talking about? I remember, and I think I told you the story. I'm running out of time, but I'm not going to go there now. So yeah, so it's, oh my God, I just loved you, girl.
I
Like you're
do.
so amazing.
So because I love to eat, and that steak comment got me hungry. What is your favorite Lebanese food?
Oh God. Okay, the best thing about Lebanese food is the starters. Okay, because you never have one. You always like you need, yeah. If you want to have really good Lebanese food, you need to go with at least four other people, and you need to get all of the starters. And like that's the best thing about Lebanese food. You have the salad, the hummus, the different pastries that we do. And for you as a meat lover, there's like so many yummy things. And Charmaine, as a vegetarian, like a huge portion of our menu is also vegetarian.
I know.
So we have a bit like best of both worlds.
Okay. Okay.
My neighbor's Lebanese, actually.
Oh yeah, you told me that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your food is incredible, tasty. So yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a, yeah. No, you know, Ed, do you have anything to say before
No, you can go ahead.
Rawan? We're going to give you an opportunity to land your final points, but I just want to say that you are truly a magical, confident, courageous woman, and I'm so blessed to know you, and I'm so grateful that you land your messages as amazing that you do, and I'm so grateful that you are breaking those barriers and stereotypes, and I thank you for the value that you bring, and thank you for doing you. And I keep saying that, but you really do, though. And for me, you're this goddess, external beauty but also internal beauty, and if you can just take that out and shine your light wherever you go, you will change lives. So thank you for the work that you do. I love you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for
So,
having me. This was
so
great.
what's your final message? This hypothetical, this podcast goes viral across the world, and you have a last message that you want to share with the world. What would that be? Besides being kind, because you said that's that magic wish. Besides being kind, what would that message be?
I think be too much of yourself. Just find that and just be too much of it, to the point where you even annoy people around you. Just just be your true authentic self. And I read a quote once that always stuck with me. It said, "Good girls go to hell," and and I feel like this has so many different meanings in it, and I really loved it. So just be so much of yourself and don't apologize for it, because I think
Oh
what
yeah.
the world now is more people who are being true, because we don't need more robots. I think robots are coming in our future, and let them just be that, the robots, but the humans, that's stay humans.
Oh,
I,
that's amazing.
I think that's why so many people resonate with your posts, because you're being yourself. You're being true to yourself and sharing a true message, as opposed to some of these program messages that people saw one person do and said, "Oh, this sounds good." You're just being authentic, and I love that about you. So,
Thank you.
thank you for joining us. This has been another Ubuntu Connected conversation on our podcast with the amazing Rowan. Thank you
Thank
for
you
all
for
that you're
having me.
doing. I wish you all the best in whatever you become. Just know that Charmaine and I are here to support you as you go along
Thank
this journey. If there's anything that you need that we can support you, just let us know.
That really means a lot. Thank you.
Okay. Wishing
Shukran.
everyone all the best. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Love and
Thank
light,
you.
everyone.